mamash saving lives, giving and offering free therapy services to people right now who are anxiety and fear and have so much going on. And this is just an additional tzara for them, that there's a war, more anxiety, more strife, more problems. And so she helps, and she has tremendous other leaders and therapists that have joined her group who are offering these services. And Miriam has written several books on Tahat Mishpacha and Tefillah. I don't even know if I know all of them. Children's books and marriage, a lot of sefarim. So you could check her out on Amazon. We can't get Amazon here now in Israel, but you guys can. So check out her books, buy them, and B'ezrat Hashem. Miriam, please share with us your inspiration and your love for Am Yisrael. Welcome.
Always from my heart to your heart, and I can't wait till we all are together in the Holy Land with Mashiach Tzidkenu, Techad Umiyad Mamish. You know, ever since that moment when I found out what was going on in Israel, I really said, okay, time for that inner conquest on a whole new level. And it took me back to the Haftorahs, where, you know, during the 3 weeks and the 9 days, and one of the Haftorahs was saying how Hashem, is constantly saying this, and it's constantly repeating in my head to help me have this inner conquest right now more than ever. Hashem says, the heart of Jerusalem is on fire. The heart of heaven is on fire. In essence, my heart is on fire. And you're reading this and you're thinking okay, it's time of the 3 weeks, it's time of the 9 days, but no, this was, my heart is on fire with love. With love. That's the fiery love of Hashem. And right now, more than ever, we need this fire. We need this fire to burn away all the images and burn away all what we're hearing and burn away all the negativity, because just like in a time of war, you got to build a foxhole, you got to have the bomb shelter, you have to go there, you have to have this sacred space right now, built in your mind more than ever, this divine space. And remove all the negativity as best you can by understanding the way God created the world and removed himself to make the space of this creation. We need to remove all this and what's going on around us and create this sacred space to let God back in, so that we can have this inner conquest. And we know when we have this inner conquest, the more, this is really the most important holy ammunition that is needed. You know, the body, Baruch Hashem, has a thermostat, an internal thermostat. No matter where you go, your body adjusts and makes sure that the temperature stays at the equilibrium that it needs to stay, so you stay alive. When we do this avodah of creating this sacred space for our neshama, the natural, unbelievable powers of our neshama has the power to keep us in equilibrium, has the power to keep us in this state of groundedness, of inner peace, of emunah and bitachon. Even though, yes, our hearts are on fire with the pain and the agony, but at the same time, we have to supply our mind and our neshama the power it needs to override, so that the pain that's justified, the hurt that we all have the right to feel, doesn't drown us, doesn't keep us static, or worse, where we become just spectators and not have the oxygen to be able to do what we can to make a difference in our own special way. We know that when we breathe, we have 5 lobes, but generally on a day-to-day basis, we're using barely 1 maybe. And the more we consciously take those deep breaths, the more we oxygenate our body and supply our body with even more of what could it be, receiving and gaining from this oxygen. So too, we have 5 powers of our soul. And maybe we're barely using one of them by running around, cooking, cleaning, and doing all these things on a physical level. But are we doing what we really need to do to safeguard our mind and protect it so that we have this inner conquest, so that our emunah and our bitachon is unshaken? You see, that sacred space in our mind, when we prune out like a garden, and make the effort to plant the seeds of positivity and plant the seeds of taking the time of focusing on emunah and bitachon, like we just went through Breshit up till now, Lech Lecha. Let me tell you what's been going on, right? In our parsha, it's giving us like little clues here. Breshit, we're thinking about the world, okay? The world, huge world, is dangling by the mere fact that God created gravity. Like, what is that? You can't even feel it. You can't touch it. Really? And yet, it has the power to hold the whole world in place, so it doesn't fall. The world is dangling. The sun, 1.3 million times bigger than the size of the earth. Same power that God created, that the sun is dangling beyond our rational capacity to understand. We know, the Alter Rebbe teaches us, that our body, somehow our toe, which is far away from our brain, gives us the signal that we just bumped it and be careful. What? If you really think about it. So Hashem is one with the world. Hashem is one, like our mind is one with our toe, and can feel the sensation and know to make the move of the right leg, then the left leg to walk. So we see, in the most intricate ways, how Hashem is within all of us, and He is within all of the world and what's happening, and He is likened to the mind or the soul power that we have that allows us to experience the full spectrum of our body. So it feels like we're dangling right now, and we can't. Our mind can't wrap around it. I remember Rabbi Jacobson saying, try to wrap your tongue around the moon. Hello? So our limited intellect can't. But we have to go tapping into something above our intellect. Yes, maximize our intellect as much as possible to really focus on the positivity, focus on all the good that's happening from the world. The few videos I saw of the Goyim who's standing up and finally saying, this is evil and not some whatever. And we have to focus on seeing how much the good of the people are there for one another. I remember just a week ago, there were Erev Shabbos, not even a few days ago, I think it was, and they were trying to find homes for thousands of people. And then one person said, if you need the home, I have a home. And they were looking for thousands of people to find a home, to find shelter in Eretz HaKadosh. Blessed are people. In less than an hour, all those people had a home like that. Oh my gosh, how gadol, how grand, how beautiful, how majestic to see our people rising to the occasion. Many places in the Rebbe's teachings, and that the events are the catalysts, and these kind of very challenging events is what presses our soul to cause the pnimiyut of our neshama to come out like a olive, the whole Hanukkah metaphor, the crushing of this olive. Elsewhere, Chassidus teaches us, the more we crush ourselves, meaning our thinking, our rational mind that's keeping us away from emunah bitachon, the more we crush our will, like we wanted to go here and there, but no, we davened first. We crushed our will, like we wanted to maybe do that, but no, we spent the time learning after davening. Then the more we don't need to be crushed, we crush ourselves in the sense. We're squeezing out our neshama. So this inner conquest right now, we need, please God, to take it to a whole nother new level. So that no more. These crazy, challenging experiences to crush us. I also was doing a series for the JLI course, and they gave me a whole thing I had to teach. And, it's a little harder to teach new things. But when I was reading it, it's all about, what we can do to really, speed up the process of the Mashiach, the ultimate Mashiach redemption with the Beit HaMikdash in Yerushalayim, Techav Mayad Mamish. And I remember reading, the whole purpose of, the suffering is so that we will activate that yearning and longing for Mashiach. How much more do we want it, right? So I was thinking, wow, then here's a remedy. Let's all yearn and long for Mashiach more and more. We have those silent moments. Maybe it's your hisbodedut before davening, maybe it's after davening. And take upon yourself right now on all the to-do list of what we can do to really bring Mashiach. Every chesed, every tzedakah, every help, every tehillim, everything. But to really yearn and long for Mashiach, for what we all want is the whole world to be at peace, for the whole world to see God's light and His goodness and His revelation of His being. So, and it is sometimes very confusing because there's just so much you want to do. You want to do this, you want to do that. And one of the Hayom Yoms, it actually says here that out of all things, each particular place in different books and holy Sfarim, you'd be reading, oh, this is the ultimate to do, oh my gosh, there's nothing like tzedakah, or there's nothing like doing actual physical mitzvahs, with your body. And, oh my gosh, there's nothing like davening and nothing. And here it says that the unbelievable power, this infinite God and His wisdom, and our finite mortal mind, when it embraces the infinite divine wisdom, and in essence, the Torah is God Himself, because Hashem is invested in the Torah. And when we utterly absorb Hashem's Torah, the result is a wondrous union. And this wondrous union is the highest level that is possible in this physical realm, where there is no union similar or parallel to this. When we have created that space and we have that inner conquest of not letting what's happening attack us, nor break us, nor hostage us, nor cripple us, I don't want to say anything worse, only positive. When we redeem ourselves and we are free and we have this incredible victory of our soul, it happens from this union between our mind and Hashem's mind, so that we can go beyond our mind to that infinite level of growth and reaching new heights, because God is infinite and we are infinitely capable of infinitely rising to the occasion. I want to say that happiness is the byproduct of this inner conquest. Of course, we're in pain. Of course, we feel we're human. Of course. But there's an ability to tap into that other transcendent part of us that, as the Rebbe says, and he brings it out from the pasuk that says, Em habanim smecha, meaning the mother of children are happy. But banim is also bina, that when we activate our mind and really sharpen our mind and learn and meditate on what we're learning, then this gives birth to banim, the bina. And the bina causes the byproduct, the offspring, like a child is an offspring, of that union between you and Hashem, gives you the capability to at least have the simcha of emunah, the simcha of bitachon, to be able to battle all the inner avengers. And Tanya just teaches us, though as great as tzedakah is, and though as great as mitzvahs are, and as great as Torah learning is, key point here. Remember back when Yaakov is going up the ladder with those angels in his dream, and the angels are like coming from below to above, and like the question is, what? Why are the angels from below going to above? This represents that the whole key of all of one's days of Voida, the whole purpose of it is to bring it up to Hashem at night. And the nighttime Shema and the Avodat HaLev at night, which is the beginning of our day. You want to wake up like a chassid, you have to go to sleep like a chassid. Because the beginning of our day is at night, our Jewish day. And all that we did throughout the whole day gets up the ladder of tefillah to go to Hashem and then plant the seeds in our mind and our heart. Kind of like a gardener, right? A farmer. He needs to plant the seeds. If he just waters his garden without seeds, he's watering the weeds. So the nighttime of Vaida is the ability that God gives us through the words of tefillah at night to bring all these holy Torah and mitzvahs and chesed and tzedakah and everything to be planted as seeds in our mind and our heart. And why do we want it planted in our seeds of our mind and our heart? So we have holy terrain, so that our mind can think of good things, battle, and win this war within, and have this inner conquest. Why do we want it in our heart? So that the heart can blossom with all the positive emotions that will come by the byproduct of these positive thoughts. Because our mind is so fortified. So science says we can do neural pruning by feeding our mind positivity. We feed our soil seeds, we'll have growth of all the strawberries and blueberries and whatever fruits of your labor. We don't do that, weeds. Because the brain will just keep ruminating, keep going over what you just heard, what you just saw, what you just experienced. It'll just live in the past. Unless we're actively programming our brain to plant these seeds of positivity. We don't need science to prove that, but this is what we need. Our avodah. And the davening is number one. You want your chesed to go shooting ammunition to Hashem so that it can be converted, the gevurah, to chesed? You need the davening at night to help it reach up in Shemayim. You want all the learning you did, all your Zooms, everything, to reach up Shemayim and change because the natural order of things is the gevurah, is din, and up in there we need to send our holy ammunition to change so that miracles will happen. So we can see with our very own eyes that we did something with all that we did. So one of the key components of having this inner conquest is stop thinking about yourself. Right now we're not really thinking about ourselves, but in a way, like sometimes we didn't make the holy space. We didn't create this bomb shelter for us, this sacred space of also removing ourselves, in a sense, from creating this sacred space for ourselves. What does that mean? Like, many times people, I got so many calls saying they feel bad. Had they done more this year? Maybe they didn't do enough. And the crying and the hysteria, and crying is from the depths of their truest pain. But I said, like, that's not from you. That's the Yetzer Hara. Dressing up like a chassid with a 10-foot strimel, trying to make you look bad, and knows now you're at your weak point, and knows now he's going to use this ammunition to break you. And they then win the war. And the hijacking of your mind, God forbid. So now more than ever, we have to have this inner strength and fortify ourselves even more to not get so self-absorbed. Really, what we have to have right now is more and more true self-transcendence, with identifying with God's purpose in what's happening, even though we can't wrap our mind around it. I mean, I could see some of the things, right, that are happening in a good way because of this. Unfortunate, I don't want it to happen that way. But I'm not God to understand why it happened this way. But I have to transcend myself. And if it's happening, it's a purpose. And definitely we have to safeguard ourselves from judging God unfavorably. I mean, that's a commandment we do, right? Well, for everyone, but for him too. Looks like he's not involved. God, trust me, all of us want him to shine like a victory, and that the world will know you don't touch our people. God is on our side, and I'm praying. I'm making almost a circle around me every day. Hashem, let me have my chutzpah, the kedusha. I know you want me to have this chutzpah, the kedusha. I want your name to be known, and now's the time. Let the world see. The world's eyes are on us. Please, Hashem, that's my prayer. Besides the fact that I trust, and I kept thinking this, and it's like a warfare ammunition for me, and maybe it'll help you. But I was thinking a lot about this, and then I spoke with someone, and she was like on the same page with me, and I'm like, and I promise you, I was thinking about this, and she was saying it, so I was like, yes, thank you, Hashem. Like, you kind of solidified at me that I could really use this tactic right now to create this sacred bomb space so that I'm not going to be swallowed up. When the babies, and it's hard for me to say the word babies because of what happened to our babies, but the babies, when they were thrown into the Nile, we know Hashem protected them, and he gave them food, and we know that when the time came for the redemption, these babies got out of the water and returned to their family and left Egypt together. We know that when Esther was taken by Achashverosh against her will, oh my gosh, every time I think about it, she gives me so much strength. We know that Hashem created a shade, meaning a duplicate of her, that she didn't have to be intimate with Achashverosh, that her soul was not there. So I try, I hope, I do all kinds of mental gymnastics to have this inner conquest so that I can be an activist rather than a spectator and not being able to function. Because trust me, before this avoida, this reaching new heights through this internal warfare and internal battle, oh my gosh, I could be in a comatose state almost for a year. Like, because I'm an empath and I feel people's pain. I'll have seen people at the airport crying and saying goodbye to each other, and I'm like crying with them. I don't even know who they are, and then I go home and I'd be crying, like, why did they have to leave each other? I'd be like welling up, and I'm and then I couldn't even imagine being a therapist, even though I wanted to help people, and it was so hard for me. So now I can take clients and I know this is from Hashem and this is happening for their good for whatever reason, and I can remove the full-hearted pain of what they're going through with the emunah bitachon, that this is going to squeeze them and this is going to help them experience a redemption that a normal person might not even have, because they're forced to deal with things that other people don't get forced to deal with. And that is actually, a way by which we can understand. There was, during the war, it was the Mittler Rebbe. I think it was the Mittler Rebbe, I'm just looking here. No, it was the Rebbe Rayatz. And he was escaping to America. And he was trying to give, I guess, chizuk to his people on the time of this crazy war that was going on. And this is found in Hayom Yom of page 508. And it says here that the fundamental purpose of man's creation is fulfilled through facing challenges. This reveals his yechida. Remember the 5 levels of your soul? Chaya is transcendent, and the yechida is like really transcendent. And maybe during Yom Kippur we have access to it freely, like if we show up and do the Ne'ilah prayer. But through the challenges, and you see all the people's yechidas like really coming on fire in a holy way. So he says there's 2 types of challenges. There's the challenges of suffering, but when we accept it with equanimity, and even work on trying to accept it with even some joy, and I'll tell you some joy stories soon, but that this taps into our yechida. The other way is through challenges of good times, basically. We have so much prosperity, we have benevolence, and Hashem is so kind to us, we have personal freedom, and, we have so much of material abundance, and that's a different kind of challenge. And it requires us to maintain our spiritual sensitivity. But through challenges, it's sometimes easier to safeguard the spiritual sensitivity, because it's just like an organic yechida is like pulsating, and like, we can feel it. Whereas when we have the good life and everything's going so well, it's harder to tap into that transcendent part of our soul. So since it's Lech Lecha, I'm going to, we did Breshit, dangling. We did Noach, going, the Mayim Rabim, and all the world's problems. The word of Tefillah helps us float, helps us to be able to have the Tzohar, which is the suffering, and to turn into a Tzohar, which is also a light of a gem and a window, like it brings a light. And then we get to Lech Lecha. And Lech Lecha says, all that you went through, you have the power to leave all that behind. You don't have to let the world's problems, choke you and bury you. You can leave it behind and go to the real you. Through that experience, that will be your stepping stone. That's a purposeful experience. Not like, some of the world theories out there. Hashem teaches us those traumatic events is what will make you. Of course, it's a choice, and it's an avoida. It's not just in an instant, okay? But it's possible. And when Abraham was commanded that he can leave his terach, murderous father, behind and become the real you activist and not let the past bury you, when Abraham was said you can leave your birthplace, even if you're born genetically in the DNA of your soul with the most fiery temperament, like a baker's oven, you can leave that behind, because that fire in you is really the untapped, unchanneled fire of Kedusha that you can use to drive yourself toward you, the real you. Not the Yetzer Hara taking your fire and making you angry and making you anxious and making you a boastful or whatever. And all the 4 elements. Fire, water, air, as Tanya teaches us in the chapter 1. And your land, Eretz. Eretz is like you ran towards certain habits because of all the trauma, and you ran towards certain habits of scrolling and scrolling and crying and can't stop scrolling. Everyone's telling me they have to get off. They're not doing the dishes. They're not doing what they need to do for their family, and got in a habit that's taking you away from being the activist, you can break that. You can leave all that behind, and you can go to the real you. I tell you, my rabbi, and this is the Chabad way, and this is the Rebbe's way, many stories. I have so many stories, and maybe for next week we'll do it more, because we're going to get together again next week. But my rabbi went around, you know, whether he was in the taxi when he landed from being out of town, you know, singing songs with the taxi driver because he saw they were Israeli taxi drivers so broken to pieces and crying while speaking. He went to the supermarket and Am Yisrael Chai and danced in the supermarket and got everyone to have strength and change the mood. We need the ammunition of simcha as well as a key remedy. I'll leave you with one story. There was a chaychik, I forgot how his name was, but he was dancing during Simchas Torah when there was the bomb in Russia, and everyone's like, are you kidding? What are you doing? How could we be dancing? And he saw nobody was dancing, so he said, you know what, I'm going to go get vodka. Maybe that'll loosen things up. No, don't go out. Don't you see? There's bomb. He goes, nah, nothing happens from doing a mitzvah. I'm fine. He ran to get the vodka. On the way back, all of a sudden, KGB there, taking him by his hands. You're the traitor. You've been sending signals. You're opening the door, closing the door. You've been sending signals to the enemy. Everyone started crying, hysterical, and he's taken off. He goes to where the headquarters are, and usually that's it. Sentenced to death without any trial. And he's like, fine, this is Hashem. He's calm. All of a sudden, the guard, who wasn't even supposed to be there that night, the other one got sick, and he was the new headquarter guy. And he said, Chaychki, oh my gosh, is that you? Oh my gosh, I will forever remember your kindness when I used to, you know, go with my father when he worked for your father, and you always used to give me cookies and your challah, right? That's you. He goes, yes. Oh my gosh. You? Oh, no, leave. And you should thank your God, because I wasn't even supposed to be here tonight. He comes back, comes into the bomb shelter where he was before. Everyone sees like a miracle that he was able to come back. He starts dancing, and the rest is history. Hopefully, we will, on the one part of our heart, have that inner conquest and keep the remedy of simcha. Simcha poretz geder. Simcha will help win this war just as much as everything else we've been doing. Thank you for giving me the opportunity, because my heart is on fire and my heart is bursting with love for my people, bursting with love of Hashem, that I want to give my full trust in my Father. He's the captain of this ship. He's the pilot flying the airway, and this is the Brit HaEsh. This is the fire of our covenant, because in Breshit, one of the words are Brit Esh. This is the fire that we're holding on to right now. This inner conquest will win the war. Anyone there? Well, at least I've had it live.
I'm here.
Oh, okay.
I'm here. Thank you, Miriam. And I just, if I may say just something, excuse me if maybe you had something else to say, so pardon me. Just when you said, what just reminded me when you said from Noah about the Mayim Rabim. And then I thought in my mind, Mayim Rabim lo yuchlu lekabot et ahava.
Yes.
And I think that sometimes all we have to do is just hear it all over, and just to let Hashem, even if we don't always feel it, and everybody from wherever they are, and just to let Hashem know, like just to kind of yell out, even if it's not 100% in the heart, and just to yell out to Hashem, ani ohevet otcha.
Right.
You know, because that's what He's waiting to hear from us here.
Beautiful.
And just to catch me, and that's it. I'm going. That's not the ship.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, my blessings to all of you out there. We could take a minute and just do a little mini meditation. And I'm seeing a heart on fire. Bold, courageous, strong, fortified. This is my fortress. And I'm seeing an image of this heart on fire in such a good and holy way. Safeguarded, protected. I'm seeing my heart's on fire, bringing warmth and love to those around me that might not as much have the fire, because they're just starting the journey. And for whatever reason, my love, my respect, my kindness, my listening ear, my compassionate eyes, my beautiful thoughts of Am Yisrael Chai, and that I am alive, and I can do what I can while alive to help others feel alive, and make a commitment in whatever way you can, that because you are alive, that you have a chance to help others become alive in whatever way. It's a listening ear, an invitation to Shabbos. A lonely soul needs a little extra attention, needs a little extra help. You know Aleph, share your Aleph. You know a little Emunah, share your little Emunah. Help build from within this inner conquest that will help you do more in whatever small way that you can, because the small isn't small, it just may seem small to you. Mamish can save a life in Eretz Yisrael. And if you're having challenges with a certain person, whether it's your child, maybe your spouse even, let this image pour over to your immediate surroundings. Pour over to the people that are most difficult to pour it over to, maybe. Maybe they're blocked, maybe they have not let you in as much as you want to be in. But see the image now, because of what's been going on in the world, help you melt away your barriers, your blockages. This heart that is on fire is melting away what needs to be removed and eradicated. And see yourself more free from the shackles of what used to be. Be the warrior. Take the front steps into the territory that you need to go to. Feeling maybe a little vulnerable, but that's okay, because that's what really counts. Just the kavanah of wanting to, just a little baby action toward that unity and that peace. And hopefully this image will also help the other in a great way, to help them be more redeemed, to help them unleash the power within from your beautiful holy thoughts. My dear soul sisters and brothers out there, I pray that this vision become more and more of a reality for all of Am Yisrael, leading us with Mashiach Tzidkenu Techav U'Miyad Mamash, with the Beit HaMikdash, where finally heaven will kiss earth. and the total unification and total peace and harmony. Love you all. Thank you for joining. Slowly just open your eyes and say a little prayer. I pray this vision is like forever in my heart and mind, and forever guiding me, and like a flashlight, like helping me see the light and helping me see the direction and helping me get there to my destination, always with love. Blessings. Nice to see you. And you can get the therapy on my website, yournewheights.org. There's a Sane Israel initiative, so that the people are slowly every day being added to this website. There's also CBTT practitioners that are the people who I've trained. So they have more of a, perspective of the Torah. I mean, I don't know. The other ones are, random. They came to volunteer in a time of need. Everyone can be a listening ear. Everyone can use their expertise and help. But if you really want, a more Torah perspective, you might want to check that part of our site first. If you know someone who may need some help. Blessings to you all. Thank you. Bye-bye. Or they can email me, saneforlife@gmail.com, or be WhatsApping me. My number is 646-243-0842. If you'd like to even join my groups, we have a daily CBTT training where it's just a few minutes. I post also classes and Zooms I'm doing, and I also post the classes and Zooms that were recorded if they missed it, so you guys could join as well. Hard to say goodbye, but see you later is what I like to say. All right, my love.